You've heard of the term blue-collar jobs. Well, now a new term has made its way into the nation's vocabulary. Green-collar jobs. Activists say thousands of new green-collar jobs could be created by investing in green technology. And these jobs could be the way to revitalize inner-city communities while cleaning up the environment at the same time. And joining us tonight is Van Jones. He is the founder of Green for All. That's a national organization dedicated to building a green economy. Van Jones, welcome to Chicago tonight, and welcome to Chicago.
Glad to be here.
I know you're based in California, but you were in town to give a speech to a group that promotes green technology and green jobs. First of all, what is a green-collar job? Define it.
That's great. Well, a green-collar job is basically a blue-collar job that's been upgraded to better respect the environment. So when you think about the guys who are putting in solar panels, people who are weatherizing buildings so they don't leak so much energy, people who are building wind farms, and all the positive environmental activity we're talking about, all that's work. We're not going to have a green environment by waving a magic wand. People got to put on the work boots and the tool belts. Those are green-collar workers.
So, Van Jones, are green-collar jobs primarily jobs that involve manual labor?
Well, the green economy will have everything from the PhDs to the PhDos. The PhD, that's a skilled labor job. And so green-collar jobs are those manual labor, those vocational jobs. We used to have those pathway out of poverty jobs, those stepping stone jobs, and now our manufacturing is gone, etc. This is a way to bring back those kind of jobs, those kind of ladders into the middle class.
So it's a job that has potential. It's not a dead-end job. As you call it, it's a pathway out of poverty.
The pathway out of poverty. You're talking about maybe take somebody who has come home from prison. They may have very few opportunities ahead of them, but if they can get a little bit of training, for instance, you have Green Corps here in Chicago. It's training young men, young women who maybe got in trouble in the past to get involved in the ground floor with these new green trades. So they're learning everything from horticulture, etc. You get these young folks on the ground floor for the solar industry or weatherization, they can rise with those companies and they can get out of poverty. These are not dead-end jobs.
Now you talk about industries like solar panels and such. Are most of these green-collar jobs in evolving technologies, or are they old jobs that are sort of retrofitted just to sort of stay current generally?
Sure. Well, it's a mix. A lot of times we talk about green jobs, people start thinking about Buck Rogers jobs, some kind of space age stuff. There may be some technologies like that are coming. But a lot of the technology we're talking about are caulk guns. Just basically making sure that our buildings don't leak so much energy. Trying to make sure, and also the other thing, of course, is materials reuse and recycling. The Delta Institute now has an initiative going on.
That's a local group that you were talking to
last night. Talking to them last night. They've got an initiative going on where they're going to be working with the community to start, instead of demolishing buildings, you kind of take perfectly good building, turn it into powder, throw it in the landfill. No, deconstruct it. So you have jobs putting it up, you got jobs taking it down, you got twice as many jobs on that building. And that's a much better way to deal with the environment and the economy.
So you deconstruct it and then you recycle the materials?
Recycle those materials. We sell them. 90% of most buildings, if they are deconstructed properly, that's not trash. That's valuable material to be resold.
And you say most of these green-collar jobs you think will tend to be local in nature?
That's a great thing.
Or locally generated?
Locally generated. See, the great thing about it, if you want to weatherize a building, double pane the glass, blow in insulation, do all those things that will make that building use less energy, therefore better for the environment. You can't put that building on a boat, send it overseas, and have them weatherize it on the cheap.
And send it back.
And send it back. You got to do it right here. So green-collar jobs are great jobs for U.S. workers.
You have used the term that you called eco-apartheid to suggest what the future might look like. Explain what that term means and why it's relevant to what we're talking about.
Well, one of the things that we're concerned about is we have all these new technologies that are coming out, solar, wind, hybrid cars, organic food. It's all positive. And yet, if it's only for an eco-elite, if it's only for those people who can afford to pay that extra green premium and buy in, many people will be left out. We could have a society with ecological haves and ecological have-nots. And the have-nots would be having cancer and asthma and wouldn't have access. Why don't we make sure that we have a green wave that can lift all boats? The green economy shouldn't just be a place for wealthy people to spend money. It should be a place for ordinary people to earn money. And if we can create jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities in this green economy, then we can fight pollution and poverty at the same time.
One of your goals, I know, is to make the green movement relevant to people of color. How do you do that? What's the message?
Sure. Well, first of all, I think that all peoples, at least historically, have cared about the earth. We all come out of tribal communities in Africa and Asia, Europe. It's only been the past couple hundred years that people said, the world's just for sale. We don't really care about those values anymore. Now those values are coming back. All peoples can claim those values historically. Presently, people of color suffer the most from environmental pollution, asthma, cancer, all those negative things. So we have the most to lose in a pollution-based economy, but more importantly, we have the most to gain as we move forward into a new clean and green economy. You take that young man on the street corner, or that young woman on the street corner, give her the tools, the training, the technology, put them to work, weatherizing buildings, putting up solar panels, also manufacturing. We'll have to manufacture, I understand now, millions of wind turbines, 80,000 parts in each wind turbine. You could put Detroit back to work, not making SUVs, but making wind turbines. That could also happen here in Chicago.
So in other words, you make it real in terms of employment, in terms of real benefits to individuals, as opposed to, we've got to save the polar bears.
Right, exactly. You talk about, we got to save the polar bears. They're going to say, well, what about Pookie? You talk about the polar bears. What about Ray on the street corner? Can we figure out a way to save him? Well, I think we can save them both. We can actually reduce violence, increase jobs, bring down energy prices when you diversify energy sources. That's the kind of stuff that the Green Collar Jobs Initiative, here you have the Chicagoland.
Yeah, tell me about what's happening in Chicago as far as green collar jobs.
Well, it's unbelievable. Chicago is actually leading the whole country in this. You got Sadhu Johnson, who's in the mayor's office. He's a genius on this stuff. You've got the Green Collar Jobs Initiative, the Chicagoland Green Collar Jobs Initiative here. And people, literally, I was in meetings all day today. People are figuring out, if we're going to make Chicago be the city that it needs to be, we've got to put a lot of people to work. You got 20,000 people coming home from prison every year, and you got a lot of people to put to work. And guess what? You have all this work that needs to be done to weatherize, retrofit, and make this city more energy efficient. Let's take the people who most need work, connect them with the work that most needs to be done, fight pollution and poverty at the same time, and Chicago's leading the way.
What can ordinary folks do to sort of promote the green movement and green collar jobs?
Sure. Well, everybody has a role to play. Obviously people in their own lives now, of course, energy prices are kind of pushing us all to be a little bit more conservation oriented.
Yeah, we're going to have a story about people in scooters in just a minute.
Sure, exactly. We're going to get doing bicycles and the tricycles and whatever we got to do.
I've already my bike.
I bet you have. So there's that, obviously those individual conservation steps. But I think people also have the opportunity, if they run businesses, to think about who they buy from and start buying, better products. If city government certainly has the ability to green light purchasing choices that will create more jobs for more people.
For example, something in the city can contract for.
Well, one of the things that's already happening, which I think people should be more excited about, is a commitment that's already been made by your mayor to weatherize thousands and thousands of buildings by 2020. A lot of stuff is pay now or pay later. You're either going to pay a lot in energy costs if they go up, or you can pay to retrofit those buildings and put people to work. Those are the kinds of leadership choices that are being made by leaders in Chicago that we're hoping others will begin to emulate.
And Van Jones, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it.
That's good. Thank you. Very good to be here.